everybody, and welcome to another windy day here in Las Vegas and another true crime Vegas style. Today I think we have a very interesting video. It's going to be talking about a combination of a beautiful woman, the theft of a ton of money, a case that was never solved until she walked in and surrendered herself some 12 years later and admitted to her crime. This story has everything. Beauty, money, casinos, Vegas, the whole 9 yards. Let's tear into it. In the fall of 1993, a beautiful young woman, she was a mix of Seneca, Native American, and Italian, decided that she needed to switch up in her career. She was relatively new to Las Vegas and had been involved in the caring industry, and she did a radical switch of jobs. She decided to apply to be an armored car courier, unbelievably. Her name was Heather Tallchief, and she ended up applying to Loomis Corporation. She had an impeccable background. She was smart, she was a quick learner, and when they tested her proficiency in the use of firearms, well, she came out as excellent shooter. They ended up hiring her, and she worked out beautifully. She was an excellent worker. Her beauty caused quite a bit of, I don't want to say trouble, but she was always getting called for her good looks. So she tried to dress down on the job and kind of diminish her looks because, well, I think when she started out, she genuinely cared about the job that she did. But guess what? When money is involved and you're sitting on a ton of money and transporting money every day, well, things can change. And for Heather Tallchief, they changed in a hurry. It's funny being at the Circus Circus because not only is this one of the weirdest places down here in Las Vegas, a place that they've not put a thin dime of capital into improving down here, it's always been a cheap place to stay. It's also been the murder and mayhem capital, suicide capital of Las Vegas. I think more people have been murdered or committed suicide here than on any other property in Las Vegas. And the stories are legendary. Well, Heather Tallchief became so good at her job. Originally they started, as most new rookies do, going in and making small deposits into the casino, dropping money off at cages and gambling points around the casino. And she did a great job. She showed up to work, she did her job, she never complained about anything. She was a model employee. She was well liked by the whole Loomis organization. Her work ethic was beyond compare. After she became tested out in firearms, it was proven that she was proficient and could handle them well. She was advanced to be the person, one of the courier drivers that drops off money at the casinos and collects money from the casinos and probably transports it to banks and other places like that. She was assigned to work. You don't ever be a courier alone. She was assigned to work with two other people, and she was a great worker. She was well liked. They got on good. They would pull up to the hotel. She would be behind the wheel. The guys would pop out. They would go make their various point drop-offs and pickups around the casino. It was about a 20-minute job. You'd be waiting outside, pick them up, move them on to the next location. Well, one day on October 1st, 1993, things took a very strange turn. In the relatively early morning, I'm talking about maybe 8, 9 a.m. in the morning, Heather Tallchief and the crew from Loomis pulled up at the casino here. It was pretty busy, and as usual was the custom, the two guys that she worked with would hop out the side, they grabbed their carts, they took their money, started to do their money drop-offs. Probably they were doing pickups and not drop-offs. And they were gone for a good 20 minutes. Well, when they came outside of the casino And what's often happened too, I should say, they often could not stop where they were. The drop-off was done, so she would have to move around or keep circulating around the casino while they were doing their job inside. You really didn't want to be a sitting target in case somebody had happened a few months before had stuck the barrel of a gun into the window of one of the armored cars. And one of the female employee was in there, and well, it was a very, very bad situation. I don't know how that turned out. But they were used to her moving around, and plus parking was a little tight that day. In 20 minutes they came out with their carts full of money or whatever, and guess what? Where in the hell was Heather? Nowhere around. Now this is the beauty of it. They did not immediately panic for a couple of reasons. Number one, this gal was dependable. Number two, this gal had done a perfect job so far. And the first thing that crossed their mind is, well, she got caught in traffic somewhere around the place. So they waited about 20 minutes to a half hour. She did not show. They called Loomis, and Loomis decided to call the police. Now, at this point in time, Heather is not a suspect at all. The initial thought that crossed Loomis's mind was, here's a gal that was waiting outside, great dependable employee, and she got nailed by some guys that, probably held her at gunpoint or whatever, drove off, and she's hostage somewhere or worse, and kidnapped. Well, that was the working theory for a long time because, well, the truck had disappeared. Nobody could find it. The story gets more and more interesting. Heather had done really something very smart. She had gone ahead and pre-rented a garage some distance from the Circus Circus, a big metal door garage. And she drove the armored car into that garage, put the door down, and began to take all of the money, or so she admitted later. Yes, she did turn herself in 12 years later. She said the guilt in living on the run was too much for her. But she put all the money into boxes. She said she worked with an accomplice that she knew, a guy who is named by the name of Soulless. She claims they boxed up the money, put it into suitcases, and $2.8, $2.9 billion. Can you imagine that? This is 1993. $2.8, $2.9 million. It'd be worth about $5 million in spending power today. Anyway, she said that they went to the airport. She was disguised as an old woman in a wheelchair. She boarded a plane with this guy pushing her wheelchair, and she disappeared to parts unknown. $2.8, $2.9 million was gone. Now, it took a full couple weeks until the owner of the garage noticed that he never saw the tenants around. So like any good nosy landlord, he ended up going to the unit, popping the lock, looking inside, and he discovered the Loomis armored car was in there. And he had already heard on the news about the robbery and things, so he immediately called the Las Vegas police. The FBI got involved. Eventually, Heather Tallchief was to end up number 3 on the FBI's most wanted list. A few things worked in her favor. Being young, being beautiful. We think of criminals as being thugs, burly guys, tough guys, rough characters. She was very smooth and she was very polished. And that helped avoid suspicion for, well, a couple weeks on her, because they really well and truly believed that Heather Tallchief was kidnapped. And only when they found the Loomis truck inside of the garage did they come to realize this was probably an inside job, and they went on to the detective part of it. Heather claims that they got on a plane, went to a foreign country, lived life. She came back 12 years later, almost to the day, late September of, I think it was 2015. Yeah, and she turned herself in to the police, and they're shocked. Here comes this gal walking in, claiming to be Heather Tallchief, claiming to be the one who pulled off the Circus Circus caper. Well, I'll tell you what, the cops were astounded. They asked her what she'd been doing. She'd been living overseas for a long time. She claimed that the money had run out. She claimed she never really got much of the money. Soulless. It was supposedly her accomplice, she claimed, got it all. And she supported herself with prostitution. And, well, who knows how much of that is really, really true. But isn't it interesting how her good looks, her demeanor, her polish really worked in her favor? And being female too, and the fact that the first suspicion was not that she was a crook, but that she had been kidnapped and would be held for ransom, or worse. She turned herself in to the police. She gave a full account of what had gone on. Claimed though that the money was all gone, and none of it has ever been seen to this day. What a gal, huh? Heather Tallchief, Circus Circus, one of the greatest heists in Las Vegas history. Beautiful, smart, but served her 5 years plus in jail. And now she's written a book and told her story. Another interesting true crime here in Las Vegas. I want to thank you guys for being along. The Circus Circus heist. It was 2.8 or 2.9 million dollars. That, my friends, is a lot of money. Your thumbs up are appreciated. Thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day.